What's up, y'all? It's your boy Do It All Dupre Kelly. Councilman Dupre Kelly, and you're watching Urban Tools for Change Network. Hey, Doc, where you at? Dr. Lisa LaCon. You already know how it goes down. Come on.
You are entering the Urban Suite with Dr. Lisa LaCon. Let's talk about urban issues plaguing our community. Let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about sex.
Hello. Welcome to the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa LaCon. Welcome. Listen, tonight we have a different type of show tonight. Oh my goodness. Because my children are on spring break, I'm thinking I'm on spring break, but absolutely not. So tonight we're going to dig into some of the books that I have either started to read or have completed for 2024. And let me tell you, these books, you won't be able to put them down. It's about book reading. So when we come back, we're going to kind of explore these books that I've been reading or have completed reading and get your 2 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents. So after a word from our sponsor, Blessed Ministries Incorporated, the premier workforce development agency in the state of New Jersey, as well as our missing person. We'll be right back. Stick with us.
But the biggest thing is always keep doing your homework. Don't get comfortable, because there's always new ways to do something. And that's the best way to learn, is to keep, informing and teaching yourself, and be professional at all times. And just, don't give up.
Don't give up. That's just like that clip at the beginning. Don't give up. That is key. Don't give up.
Do not give up.
Don't give up. If you know your purpose in life,
You should never give up.
you keep pushing that plow. Keep putting your hand and pushing that plow.
We're not going to give up.
It's not going to come just by osmosis, in a sense,
We must not give up.
or just by you saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Never give up.
Ніколи не здавайся. Ніколи не здавайся.
You have to work hard at it. And you can do it.
I won't give up. I know we can do this together.
All right, so we are back with our missing person segment. So every time I go live on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I always do a missing person. And tonight is no exception. So who do we have? We have Tynacia Hemingway Lux. Now listen to this. This is, or she is, the second missing person that I have highlighted within the last month and a half from Sumter, South Carolina. Listen, My folks from Sumter, South Carolina, what's happening? Either you are reporting more or more of these things are occurring. So this is Tynacia Hemingway Lux. She's been missing since March the 1st, 2024. And today is March, 12th, 2024? All right. So she's 17 years old. 17-year-old from Sumter, South Carolina. Her gender is female. Her race is Black. Her complexion is medium. Her height, she is 5'4". Her weight, she's 130 pounds. Her hair color is black, and her hair length is medium, and her eye color is brown. Listen to this. Location last seen. Tynacia was last seen Friday, March 1st, 2024, at her home in Sumter, South Carolina on Jubilee Drive. I have no idea where Jubilee Drive is, but I need you all to take a look at her picture. And if you're just hearing my voice on Amazon, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, I definitely need you to pay attention to this. Anyone with information, please contact Sumter Police Department, and that telephone number is 803-436-2700. I'm going to repeat that again. The telephone number is 803, that's the area code, 436-2700, which is 2700. Also, you can contact the Black and Missing Foundation Incorporation, and that telephone number is 877-97-BAMFI, and that translates to 22634. Again, for Black and Missing Foundation Incorporated, that telephone number is 877-97-BAMFI, which translates into 22634. Listen, my folks from Sumter, South Carolina, I need you to tune in. I need everyone to tune in. I need you to share this information. So on my YouTube channel, Urban Tools for Change Network, this information will be featured in my shorts. And once it's in my shorts, I definitely need you to share. All right. So let's bring Tynacia Hemingway Lux home. Now, I told you all, my urbanites, one of the toughest jobs about presenting the missing persons is sad news, reporting sad news. So we have an update on someone that I highlighted. I actually highlighted him July the 7th, 2022. And it is March the 12th, 2024. So let's roll about Cody Bigsby, the update.
Degree murder, the jury found Corey Bigsby guilty. On the charge of concealing a body, the jury found Corey Bigsby guilty. That is, guilty on both counts for the murder of his son, Cody Bigsby, the young 3-year-old, 4 at the time that he was reported missing back in January of 2022. The prosecution told us throughout this case that Cody was in fact murdered months prior, before he was reported missing.
So when I reported this back in July 2022, in the Hampton Roads area, there was a huge billboard with Cody's picture. Now, the father's name is Corey and the son's name is Cody. And this is what I reported back in July of 2022. I did all of his description, and then it said, according to police, Cody was last seen in the 100 block of Renulette Drive at the Buckrow Point townhomes in the Buckrow area of Hampton. Officers were called to the home just after 9 a.m. on Monday, January the 31st. When they arrived, Cody's father, Corey Bigsby, told them the child was last seen around 2 a.m. that day. And then the circumstances surrounding the disappearance, it says this: Corey, which is the father, was charged on Thursday, February the 3rd, with 7 counts of child neglect after previously being named a person of interest in the case of his missing son, Cody. Hampton police said his timeline for Cody's disappearance didn't match evidence collected. So let's play that clip. Continue playing that clip.
June of 2021 is when the prosecution says that he was killed. Let's walk over here. Nehemiah is the photographer going to be working with me on bringing you this live report. And shortly, we should expect some of the members of this trial, some important members of this trial, to begin leaving the courtroom. And we kind of want to get their reaction to what happened today. We would like to hear from Commonwealth's attorney Anton Bell and his assistant senior Commonwealth's attorney Dylan Arnold, who prosecuted this case. This is a rare no-body case. It is.
All right, you hear that? A rare no-body case. What does that mean? They prosecuted him, found the dad guilty, and Cody's body is still missing. They don't know where his body is. So we were told that unfortunately, the father beat his son to death, and the son, at the tender age of 4, had a heart attack, and the dad did try to resuscitate him. It did not happen, and the father put his lifeless body in a trash bag, a plastic bag, and drove from Hampton, Virginia to northern New Jersey and did something with the body. And the body has not been located. So they don't have a body. So previously, in order to be found guilty, you had to have the body as evidence. Not so much now. This is the 4th conviction in the Hampton Roads area where there is a no body conviction, meaning the person has been found guilty and there's no body. So yeah, these laws are changing. Look at him. Look, so, that's the update with Cody Bigsby. And when I initially reported this, when I read this, circumstances of disappearance, it sounded very fishy. And the interesting thing was, he reported his son missing 2 months after he abused his son. So I don't know what his sentence will be. He's been found guilty on all counts of murder and neglect. And it's a sad day when a father kills his own child. So that's the sad news update. All right, Mr. Producer, what do we have next? Because you know me, I'll have my Wendy Williams moment and become very emotional.
Right. Did you want to talk about the Oscars first, or did you want to talk about the books?
We could talk about the books. So I have no idea what book you're going to present, but any book. Oh, Body Rights, which is sort of perfect with what I just talked about. That I had the opportunity right here. I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Sheena Young at a conference that was presented on the campus of Hampton University. And it was decolonization of psychology, something like that. But let me tell you, Dr. Sheena, Body Rights, a Holistic Healing and Embodiment Workbook. This is a workbook for Black survivors of sexual trauma. Okay. So, although this is Women's History Month, you know, everyone, male, female, all genders can be survivors of sexual trauma. So this book specifically speaks to Black survivors of sexual trauma. And the two things that she said that really spoke to me is your body is the crime scene. So, you know, when you have the unit, the crime scene investigation, CSI come in and they take pictures of the environment. Oftentimes they take pictures of the body because the body is the crime scene. So when it comes to sexual assaults, you know, when it comes to heinous crimes, when it deals with the body, violence, sexual assaults, things of that nature, your body is the crime scene. And then also she talked about how your body, she says this, and I'm going to quote her, your body be knowing. Your body knows and can identify stressors, and your body will react to those stressors, whether they be positive or negative, your body will respond. Now, sometimes we can, you know, control our body, but also we have voluntary and involuntary things that we can control and things that we can't control. So this is a wonderful workbook. Now, with that said, I have a free copy to give someone. Don't be ashamed. Do not be ashamed if you need this workbook, and it's a signed, autographed copy by Dr. Young. This book is fantastic. And look at this. Different things that she talks about. Let's see. It has 4 different parts. So 4 different journeys. So rather than chapter 1 or section 1, it's journey 1, journey 2, journey 3, journey 4. Now, you don't necessarily have to go in order, but it is a good idea to go in order. You can write in this book. You can, you know, mark this book. This book is very pristine because this is my free giveaway. Whoever wants this book, you have to email urban2sforchange@gmail.com. The first person that emails me, you will get this signed autographed book by Dr. Young. Excellent, excellent read. And it's not a read like, you know, like a memoir or anything like that. It's a workbook. You have to put the work in. And basically what she's talking about is based on our culture, based on our ancestry in Africa, when it comes to therapy, that some of the things that Europeans have done from a European, Eurocentric perspective may not work for us based on our cultural upbringing, based on our ancestors, based on a whole slew of things that we may not be able to relate from a Eurocentric perspective. So that's the decolonization. And my definition of decolonization is the process of deprogramming from oppressive Eurocentric conditioning. I hope that's understandable to you. Is that understandable to you, Mr. Producer?
Yes. Yes, it is. But one other thing, do they mention anything in there about like enablers or anything like that? Because one piece that you didn't cover on the Cody story was that the sister was sticking up for the brother and saying that she saw the boy after he had died, but the mother and the son were saying no, like they were against him. So there was people that the father, that, you know, the sister was on his side and was testifying with the defense, whereas the prosecutor had the mother and the other son, the older son, that said that he had seen him dead or whatever. So
yes.
So it's like family members sometimes be the enablers of that type of stuff too.
Right. So, and here enablers look like this. For instance, if you inform someone that someone has abused you, the person doesn't believe you. So what do? How do you respond to that? Because that person is an enabler of the person who is actually victimizing, the person, that is the object of the abuse. So it talks about that as well. It really does. It looks at all facets of abuse, and enablers are part of the abuse family, in a sense.
Cycle.
Whether it be friends, that's right. Whether it be friends, whether it be family members, whether it be neighbors or whatever. Just like with the whole R. Kelly, a lot of enablers.
Ooh, that's deep, because you gotta bring in those girls' parents and stuff too. They were like,
Absolutely, yes, because of the
selling her-
money.
Yeah, they were selling
Right.
them off basically.
Yep. Absolutely. Those are enablers. And those women that experience that, because a lot of them were young girls, that's sexual trauma. That is sexual trauma. And this talks about, surviving the sexual trauma as a Black person here in the United States. And pretty much not even here in the United States, but all over.
Yeah.
All over.
You know what? You never, which ties exactly in with this. You never talked about the Puffy situation either, though.
Yeah, I never talked about that because it was a little gossipy.
Yeah.
So when I get more clarity on it and come from a mental illness perspective and the abuse, definitely I will speak on it. But right now it's like a little
but there was definitely a lot of abuse going on, and there was a lot of enabling and grooming or whatever you want to call it. Like people were setting people up and setting up people on dates and all this kind of other stuff or whatever.
Right. So so Dr. Young, that's her specialty. She is a therapist that specializes in working with survivors of sexual trauma. And very sharp, and one thing that I noticed about her, when you have book signings, the author, they just write their books and whatever, she was very thoughtful and intentional when it came to signing books. Every book had a different message because she thought about the person, like she was taking in, I guess, their spirit or whatever. So in the book that I actually have, Lisa, may you remember the force of nature that you are. That spoke volumes to me because sometimes I do forget. I can be a force of nature. And I think sometimes I kind of put out my fire based on several reasons. And I have to say this, my urbanites. Sometimes I am not afraid, but sometimes I am, because I know what I can do and I'm unstoppable. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to be that giant that wakes up and becomes this, so I kind of tame myself, but I have to be measured. And that's what I think. I think as I get older, I'm more measured. Even how I speak with people, what I say, when I say it, but very good book, Body Rights, a holistic healing and embodiment workbook for Black survivors of sexual trauma. Put up the book again. Yep, that's it. Body Rights by Dr. Sheena Young. Now, Dr. Sheena Young is out in California in the Los Angeles area. So if you are out in the California area, Google her, definitely look her up. I believe she is on LinkedIn. And I am definitely going to ask her to come into the Urban Suite because this is an issue that we definitely need to discuss, especially as it comes to what's happening right now. And I said, this is the year of indecent exposure. A lot of wrongs, a lot of sins are going to be exposed this year. And a lot of it is sexual trauma. So get the book. That's book number 1. Oh, this book. Oh my gosh. Sullied Bride. Just the name in and of itself. So I had the opportunity to meet this sister, Jasmine Andrews. So she's the author of this book. I met her at a film festival, again, on the campus of Hampton University with the Virginia Black Film Festival. So she is not only an author, She is an independent filmmaker, and the movie that I saw this year was Then let me see, Then Sings My Soul. Yes, but this book, I have to read. Let me tell you, this book right here. Oh my gosh, it starts off by saying it's been the greatest murder cover up of all time. Where do you think I'm going with that, Curtis? Sully Bride.
Is this real? Like, is it nonfiction or fiction?
Yo, wait a minute.
Because I don't want.
All right, listen to it. This one is woo.
Okay.
He didn't make it look like an accident or perfectly conceal the evidence. All he did was wait silently as the circumstances closed in on her and let her fall into the trap. Eve ate the deadly fruit while Adam didn't say a word. Let me tell you, this book is something else. The results were the greatest human tragedy of all time, the invention of death itself. And although he participated in the sin himself and the cover up for his plot, he shifted the blame to the woman. This right here, Sully Bride, is a fantastic book, especially this time of year. It's a Christian-based book, and it's talking about the fall of man and what happened in the Garden of Eden. And it talks about how man, let me tell you, let me read this. This book is really something. In Genesis 3:12, I'm reading from Sully Bride. Adam declares that he ate because the woman gave him the fruit, clearly displaying that he was not deceived. So by eating the fruit, Adam willfully exhibited his agreement that God was a liar. When Adam finally spoke, his character was revealed. The man said, "The woman you put here with me," talking to God, "she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it." So basically, Sully Bride is talking about the relationship and the dynamics that males, have towards females, and how as females, we're seen as less than citizens because people have misinterpreted the scripture to believe that it was the first sin caused by woman. But the first sin was caused by a man, and his name is Adam. And then she goes on to say, this is something else. Adam was uncaring toward his wife, blamed her for his sin, allowed harm to come to her in pursuit of his selfish gain or vendetta, ignored problems, stonewalled his wife, used emotions for manipulation and control, and was a complete and utter failure in fulfilling his task to guard the tree. Man, and it talks about, as a result of this, women are seen as less than, we're seen as second-class citizens, we're seen as not respected, and people abuse scripture for their own good to make themselves feel better when they are typically abusing women. This Sully Bride, let me tell you. So the author Jasmine Andrews will be in the Urban Suite on March, I believe it's 28th. Let me see. March 26th. March 26th, she'll be in the Urban Suite, and we're going to dissect Sully Bride. Even the name Sully Bride, because when you think of a bride, what is the first image that you think of when you think of a bride?
Well, you have the white dress, but
right,
she's in the dirty water right there.
There you go, surrounded by muck and dirt and grime, which is the result of, now I'm not male bashing, but it is the result of men not understanding their role as well as the role of a woman. And we're going to dissect it when she comes into the Urban Suite with me. So that's Sullied Bride. If you need a copy of Sullied Bride, I don't have free ones to give away. You can Google. I've given away enough things free now. But because also she is an independent, bookmaker and author, definitely Google her, research her, purchase a book. Definitely purchase. If you live in the 757, she is in this area, and 757 is the Hampton Roads area code. All right, so what book do we have next? Oh, perfect transition. All right, so book number 3, Sheila Johnson. Oh my gosh. So my very good friend, Jennifer Payne Parrish, Dr. Payne Parrish, who actually wrote Seeking Science, she was in the Urban Suite. She told me about this book. She put me onto this book. She was like, Lisa, you got to read this book. Let me tell you, I could not put this book down. So, Curtis, do you know who Sheila Johnson is?
BET, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
She is the wife of, or ex-wife of Bob Johnson.
Bob Johnson.
So she and Bob Johnson started BET, Black Entertainment Television. Let me tell you, do you know when they met?
Oh, what, in college?
Yes, she was a freshman in college and he was a junior. And then they married when she was in college. They went to Northwestern.
Where's
and they
Northwestern?
started Northwestern University.
Where's that at?
I think it's in Illinois.
Okay, I've heard,
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that place.
Yeah, I think Wendy Williams went there as well.
Okay.
So Northwestern's in Illinois. So they met her freshman year, and he was sort of like her big brother. You know how they pair you up with incoming freshmen, and I guess there were very few Black students. So hey, why not Bob with Sheila Crump? That was her maiden name, Sheila Crump. And her father was a doctor who graduated from Lincoln University and Howard University. The mom was there, but the dad abandoned and left the family, talking about abuse. So then she marries Bob, talking about emotional abuse and the toil that he put her through. The book is a wonderful, fantastic read. It really is. And the affairs that he had, and she was pretty clueless, but it goes back to Sullied Bride in a sense, that how he, took advantage of her. He manipulated her. He stonewalled, and stonewall means basically you're ignoring the person. That means that you're not communicating with the person. And I talked about the 4 horsemen in relationships, and stonewalling is one of the 4 horsemen that is a killer in a relationship. And just the things that he really put her through emotionally, it was, oh my goodness, you got to read this book. She is America's first Black female billionaire, because while Bob Johnson was starting BET, it was pretty much a lot of her money, because she was a school teacher that was the foundation of BET. So when they divorced, he didn't contest anything. Whatever she wanted, he was like, okay, I'll give it to you. So she is majority owner of the Washington Wizards, the Washington Capitol, and there's another team, the female basketball team in Washington, D.C. So she lives outside of in Virginia, and she has a spa and resort called Commander. So no, Salamander. See, I used to work at Commander Salamander, but it's called Salamander. I used to work at this store in Georgetown called Commander Salamander. So I always get
that? Commander Salamander.
Oh yes, Commander Salamander. It was a retail store, but her brand is called Salamander. And if you look at this, it says "Walk Through Fire," a memoir of love, loss, and triumph. So the reason why she said that it really fit the name Salamander, because Salamander, according to, I don't know if it's ancient, whatever, but according to reports, the salamander is the only I guess, reptile or whatever that can walk through fire and not get burned.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I've heard that they can walk through fire. I don't know if that's true, but it's like
Yeah, right. I'm like, is that an urban legend? I don't know.
I've
But
heard that
that's why
about
it's
them
called
too.
salamander, because she wasn't able to have her own children. She adopted 2 children. She had a awful, it wasn't even a miscarriage. She gave birth to a little boy and he only survived for an hour. That was just, oh my gosh, just oh. And then, growing up, how the dad just left. He left to be with another woman. And then she marries a man who mimics the pattern of her dad in Bob Johnson. So she's remarried now. And this is interesting. She remarried a man that she met maybe 30 plus years ago when they used to perform together, because she was an actress. So she's a violinist. She is an actress. They hadn't seen each other in years. And then this man, her husband now, Bill Newman, he was the judge in her divorce filings.
Oh no.
Yes. He was the judge. Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's something.
Very good book.
Well, I wonder why she stayed around the DC area, because of BET or whatever. I mean, like, why she took up roots around DC? Where's she from?
She is from, I think, Illinois, and then Pittsburgh, something like that. I don't know. Her dad used to move around a lot because he was a medical doctor. But back then, a lot of hospitals did not hire Black medical doctors. It was the VA, the Veterans Administration, that hired the majority of Black medical doctors. So he went wherever he had to go. But I think Illinois. But she fell in love with DC, and she fell in love with those 300 and so acres in Virginia. Her children, she raised her children in this area. Her roots are pretty much in this area outside of, her mom just passed maybe in 2013 or so. And it was so touching. Her mother said that she was not going to die until she saw the salamander open its doors, because she had gotten some resistance from the community and stuff like that. And, and this is the thing, because she was emotionally abused, every time she did something, she would hear the voice of Bob Johnson in her head saying, this is not going to work. You're not going to do this. This is going to be a failure. And that's what that abuse will do. So it took her a whole time to deprogram herself from that oppressive talk that she had been fed all these years. Remember, I think Bob Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, may have been maybe one or two, maybe the only man outside of her second husband that she had only been with. But all through college, she was with him, and she never really dated anyone. She dated this one guy, but he went away to school, and she never really got in contact with him again. So they had a strong tie that she had to unravel. Very interesting. So she is a billionaire now. She and Bob Johnson adopted 2 children, a daughter and a son. And I told my husband one day I would love to go to the spa just to get a feel for it and see how it is, and report it back here in the Urban Suite.
Okay. And BT was kind of based out of like DC, right? Like
it was founded in DC. Yeah, that's where it started. It founded in DC.
I always thought it was a DC place. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another reason why the book resonated with me, because, as you all know, I'm born and raised in DC. So a lot of the landmarks and the things that they were talking about that she discussed in the book based on BT, it was like, oh, okay, I can relate to that. Oh, I know where this is. Oh, I know this part of Southeast. And, oh, I know where this school is. Oh, she used to work at that school. Oh, so it's like kind of familiar because it was, DC based when she went to BET, but a very interesting journey that she has. So yes, so Sheila Johnson, definitely I encourage you to pick it up and read it. All right, so what's the next book? All right, so you all may be like, okay, Dr. Lisa, why Stephen King? Like, what is this? This doesn't go in. So I read, I enjoy all genres of books, whether it's self-help books, fiction, nonfiction, reading the Word of God. And Stephen King is one, I have to say, one of my favorite authors in a kind of corny way. But this book is named Holly. Now, the reason why I selected this book is the main character is a female. She's a female detective. She is not a Black character. However, her junior sidekick in the book, her name is Barbara. She is. And I am thinking that a sequel beyond this book, Holly, is going to play out. But I want to read an excerpt from Holly, which can give you all an idea of how we are looked at from a European perspective. Very interesting. All right. So this book is about two professors who are European professors, and they are cannibals. And one is the husband is a biology professor, and the wife is an English professor. And they're aging, and they eat people so that they can.
That took a turn. Okay. I was like, okay, wait. Is this ghosts? Is this, demons?
Yes,
No, it's
yes.
vampires. No, it's cannibals.
Yes, cannibalism. So they're eating people to remain young and healthy because, of course, they're aging, they have ailments, and they're fighting death off as best as they can. And because the husband is a biologist, he understands about cellular growth and stuff like that. Pretty much what Kelly Bowman was talking about, cellular regeneration. So based on that, okay, so that's the little context. So Barbara, who is, I think she's like 16, 17-year old. She's a Black female in this book. She is over the house of the professor. Her name is Emily, Professor Emily. She's the cannibal. All right. So this is what Emily, the professor, is thinking about Barbara. Okay. I'm going to read a little ahead. Barbara leaves with her red coat unbuttoned. She just left the house of the professor. Her red scarf hanging loose instead of wrapped, her knitted red beret cocked rakishly on her head, face mask forgotten in her pocket. Pretty, Emily thinks. Pretty little pickaninny. Although that word and others comes naturally to mind, if spoken aloud, it would surely sully her reputation for the rest of her life in these puritanical times. Yet, she understands and forgives herself, as she forgave herself for certain unkind thoughts about the late Ellen Kraslaw. So Ellen Kraslaw was another Black female that they had killed, all right? Emily Digman Harris's formative years occurred in an era when the only Black people you saw in the movies or on TV were the servants, were certain candies, and jump rope rhymes contained the N-word, where her own mother was the proud owner of an Agatha Christie first edition with the title so racist that the book was later retitled 10 Little Indians. And you can imagine what the book was prior to 10 Little Indians.
Wait a minute, is that real?
That's real, yes.
Wait a minute, what was it? What was it called? What was it called? Agatha Christie wrote that?
Yes.
And that's what she named it?
Yes. Agatha Christie first edition with a title so racist that the book was later retitled 10 Little Indians. And still later, because that was not seen as kosher, still later, and then there were none.
Wow, because I've heard of that.
Yeah, so this is what the professor says. This is why and how they think of us. She says, it's my upbringing. That's all. I am not to blame. So they don't blame themselves because it's their upbringing.
Now, in a way though, I can kind of understand that though. It's like she was kind of like they're kind of brainwashed into it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not.
Yes.
It's the whole society and everything. It's like she didn't come up with all these ideas. She didn't make up the word pickaninny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like other people were saying that, and they told her that. So that's
right.
You know, so I kind of, you know.
And then listen to this. And that little girl is talented and decently talented for one so young, not to mention a blackie.
But meanwhile, she's just thinking about salt and pepper and seasonings and onions and stuff like that, so she can, because she like the dark meat.
Oh, I don't know, but it's an interesting the frame of mindset that they have. Like when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, and that's what they believe. They believe that I'm not to blame. Don't blame me for my racist thinking. Don't blame me for my racist attitudes. Don't blame me for my stereotypical views. Don't blame me for my prejudice. Don't blame me for my discriminatory perspectives and views. Don't blame me.
Yeah.
So, look. Let's go back to Sully Bride. What did Adam say? Don't blame me. God, it's your fault. Don't blame me. God is the woman you put me with. I did not ask you, God, to create this woman. As a matter of fact, I was fine all by myself. So the same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden is still happening. Don't blame me. It's not my fault. Powerful.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So what do we have next? Because tonight we're doing a...
Yeah, well, right before we finish up, I guess we could just talk about the Oscars. That just happened on Sunday.
Oh, yes, the Oscars. I don't know. Did you all see the Oscars?
I didn't
Well,
get a chance to see it.
actually, I know, because you didn't get a chance to see it. Actually, I forgot all about the Oscars. I wasn't even thinking about the Oscars, but my daughter told me about the Oscars. And I looked at it, and I have to say, it was a good year for film in 2023. I saw most of the movies that were being highlighted or nominated. I saw The Holdovers. That was very good. I saw American Fiction. I saw Oppenheimer. I saw Maestro. I did not see Barbie. I cannot.
They had some black Barbies in there, didn't they? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I just cannot bring myself to watch Barbie.
They made $1 billion.
I cannot do it.
They made $1 billion, I heard, with that movie.
I'm sure, but it wasn't from me.
Yeah, they made $1 billion with that movie.
And then Fallen was one. I saw that. That was a foreign film. I saw that. And then I saw, there was another one. I didn't see Poor Things. That was with Emma Stone. And she actually won for Best Leading Actress, Emma Stone. I didn't want to see it because it looked kind of weird. Like she was like walking like, I was like, what in the world? But apparently it was good. American Fiction, excellent, with Jeffrey Wright. The screenplay, the adaptation of the screenplay, Cord Johnson, he won, which was fantastic. The writing on that movie was brilliant. With The Holdovers, if you didn't see that, anything that Paul Giamatti is in, I usually go and watch because he's such a mature actor, like Jeffrey Wright. Like they're very strategic in the things that they pick, and they bring those words to life. Divine, she won. She was in The Holdovers for Best Supporting Actress. Now she's a graduate of the Yale Film School. And I could tell, I can tell the difference between well-trained thespians versus those who are not. I can tell.
Like
and I think you can tell. I think,
Like Kelly Rowland?
Oh, yes. Right. So you said it. Not me. Yes.
So that's
like
what
Kelly
I did
Rowland.
see. the divine, that woman. I saw her. That's the
Yes.
part that I saw from the Oscars.
Yes.
Cause she,
Kelly
what did she
Rowland,
win for?
supporting actress, best
Yeah.
supporting actress. Kelly Rowland, her lane is singing.
Not acting.
No. And see, and this is the problem. And this is what Taraji P. Henson, who is a well-trained thespian, and then you expect Taraji P. Henson and Kelly Rowland to be in the same category when it comes to salary? No. You're going to get a different performance from Taraji P. Henson versus a Kelly Rowland. And how dare you bring me down to that level because you are too cheap to pay me my worth.
Yeah, because they're thinking about the draw to the movie and stuff like that, like star power, and because Beyonce was in a movie too? Was she like in one of the movies?
She was in a movie with Idris Elba.
I thought it was like an action movie. I saw her fighting in a fight scene or something like that.
Oh, that was the one with Idris Elba. She was fighting this woman who was trying to break up their marriage and stuff like that. She's.
How was her acting?
A C-.
Really? Was it better than Kelly Rowland?
No, they're about the same.
Okay, so they're about the same then. So they just singers trying to be actresses. That's
right. Okay. They are. And
it's the money.
See, and this is why I think people miss Wendy Williams. I know I do. Because she's skilled in journalism. She's not a comedian sitting behind a mic.
Or a sports guy.
Or a sports guy. Now, there are some that are pretty decent. They've been doing it for a long time. But you can tell Wendy Williams is skilled. That's what she went to school for. That is sort of like her trade. She's not a singer who turned into a radio jock. She's not a comedian who turned into a radio jock. She's not, she has it.
Yeah. But you know what? That's where a lot of these jobs went. So instead of it being the people that went to school for journalism or TV production, it's just everybody in their bedroom that can get enough attention. That's like, those are a lot more jobs now. They're influencers, they're doing stuff. Because, a lot of these people that you never heard of, they make way more money than Wendy Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Even Shannon Sharp, he said, like, that Cat Williams interview that he did got him paid more than any year that he played football.
I'm sure.
So, like, what you think he'd rather have been doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
sitting on that sofa, drinking cognac and not getting hit.
And not getting hit and just talking to people and letting them talk and do all the work.
And say, what you talking about? Like what?
And wear tight shirts. So
yeah. So it's a different world. And I think 2023 gave me hope when it comes to film. And I think what AI is going to do is I think people have to up their game as a result of AI. Yeah. I think people have to up their game as a result of social media, because the truth of the matter is social media is out there, but you have the Jeffrey Wrights, you have the Taraji P. Hensons, you have the Paul Giamattis, you have all of these caliber actors that these social media influencers who they just can't.
But it's just competing for attention, though. So sometimes just the simplest, goofiest stuff is enough for a lot of people.
Well, that's what American fiction is about.
Okay, I didn't.
So American fiction is about this professor. He has a PhD and he's an author, but no one's buying his books because they want the hood stuff. So Issa Rae is in there, and Issa Rae has a book, and in her book they talk like this: "Yo, Shaniqua, what's up? Where you be going? What you be doing? Is you all right? Is you whatever?" So here you are. You have this, this professor, PhD, and his books don't sell. And then they put him in the Black section. And he's like, well, just because I'm a Black writer doesn't mean that my characters are Black, it doesn't mean, why are you putting me in the Black section of the bookstore? I don't necessarily need to be here. I just need to be in the general section because my character in my book, it's not specific to Black audiences. Anyone can enjoy it. But what he did was he had to switch it up, create this fake gangster writer that talked like, yo, whatever this, and his books went off the shelf, fell off the shelf. So it's sort of like this show. So I'm not going to get as many followers as a gossiper. I'm not going to get as many followers as someone doing stupid, dumb antics. I'm not. I've come to the realization of where we are, especially when it comes to mental health. People don't really like to talk about mental health until it affects them personally. It's just not entertaining. I try to be entertaining, but it's just not entertaining talking about mental health. It's like, oh, okay, here she goes again. But if I was talking gossipy about celebrities and stuff like that, it's very enticing and entertaining. And, it's a lot of people don't like that. So there is a market for me, but it's going to be smaller than the whole market of the gossipers, the whole market of doing the stupid, dumb antics, dancing. One woman just dances. I can do that all day.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's just no. I'm not.
She does it in all those different places, and she'll be on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah, just
and she's probably getting a lot. Look, even you remember the guy that was just with the big fat stomach, and he would just shake his stomach and stuff and dance in front of it. They get paid, man. Like, he gets millions and stuff for doing that, and he just does the same thing over and over again in different people's places.
So maybe if I were in my 20s or 30s, no, I'm in my mid 50s. I'm not going to act like a clown just to get a like. Yeah, I just can't do it. I just can't. I'm not going to do it. So, I know my lane. I know my audience. I know, where I'm going to go and trying to monetize. And if it's about, the money, I'd rather just, if I have to get the money to be a clown, I'd just rather not do it. I'm just, no, I'm not going to do it. So, my goal is for people to, like I said, urban tools for change. What's in your toolbox to help you maintain or to help you acquire your mental health? Because I told you that there's a distinct difference between mental illness and mental health. Mental health is when, you're stable, you're fine, you're doing well. Mental illness is when you're not stable, you're not fine. Say, for instance, if you are diagnosed with, a mental illness and you may be off your medication, you may be not doing things as you normally should do, that's you have a mental illness and you definitely need to see a doctor. So even talking about these health disparities and these health issues for the Black community, this is really relatively new in a sense. Growing up, we didn't have conversations around the kitchen table, around the dining room table, talking about mental health issues, mental health challenges. As a matter of fact, we belittled it and we had so much stigma behind it. We said, oh, Candy, she a dime short. Oh, Tyrone, his elevator didn't reach the top floor. And that's the extent of it. We didn't have schizophrenia, bipolar, schizoaffective disorder. That wasn't that was never even spoken of in my household growing up. I never even heard of the term or any of those terms growing up. In my household, schizophrenia, schizoaffective, bipolar, none of this stuff. Seeing a therapist, and no, the only thing that you saw was Friday nights. You go to the club or to the house party with your little liquor. You talk and tell your sorrows to your friend, and that was about it.
Or you go to church on Sunday and stuff like that.
And you go to church on Sunday. Yep, and you go to church on Sunday, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Now, in DC, we did have a huge psychiatric hospital, St. Elizabeth Hospital, but still, we didn't look at those people. There was no definition and no label behind what I saw. I saw a lot of people on the street that, in my mind, we said they were crazy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that they were diagnosed. I didn't know what the diagnosis was. There was no name. No one introduced to me about schizophrenia. No one said it. It was just, I didn't know.
And there's a stigma on it too. It was a
It
stigma.
was a major stigma toward it. And like you said, church. Oh, if this person is, operating like this, somebody put roots on them. Somebody put a spell on them.
They got demons.
They have demons. Yes. And they need to go to church.
Mm-hmm. And that was going to fix it.
Demons expelled. Hallelujah. That was it.
Meanwhile, they're hearing all kinds of voices and having conversations on the phone with people that ain't really there.
Just like that Risa Tisa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she probably doesn't know the signs or the name behind what this person, is experiencing. And when you think about it, it's sort of like, wow, just the things that we just did not know growing up, in our community. I know for me, I had no idea. The only thing that I knew about was multiple personalities because of the movie Sybil,
Right.
with Sally Field. Or was that, no, not Sally Field. Was that Sally Field or Joanna? No, Sybil was Sally Field. And the other one that Joanna Woodward played in, I can't remember. Three Faces of Eve.
Okay, I've heard both of those movies, yeah.
Right. That was it.
Yeah, well, just like with Risa T, she just thought he was lying.
Right. She thought he was lying. She didn't call him a pathological liar, got people to, rally behind her, calling him a pathological liar. Oh, he's a liar. Well, come to find out, he has a mental illness. And that's a mental illness because it's not controlled. It was out of control.
Because if he'd had medication, he might not have been hearing the voices. He might not have been having these conversations.
Right. Absolutely. And if he was hearing those voices, he may not have had delusions of grandeur that he's the VP and that he's doing all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah. So it's something. So, yeah. So I'm not going to be a shucker and a jiver. And, but yeah, you can tell the difference between the Kelly Rowland and the Divine. Kelly Rowland with Taraji P. Henson. I actually put Gabrielle Union in the same pile as Kelly Rowland.
Really?
Yes. I just don't put it like this. Okay. This
She's
is
more
my
like a model or something. She's like more of a model and like a face.
I don't know, but she does these things with her lip. I don't know what to.
Well, I mean, she was pretty and stuff. I mean,
Well, okay, that's I guess, but her acting just is flat to me. So there's one scene in American Fiction, and I saw it twice, and both times it got me. And, I cried really quick, like listen, Dr. Lisa can cry just like that. So if I see you in a film or see you on the news and you're crying and it doesn't touch me, because I'm very, I guess I would say I'm an empath. Yes, I am an empath. I can feel it and I start to, and you've experienced that. When I do my missing person, sometimes like, okay, let me stop because I know where I'm getting ready to go. There's one scene in American Fiction. So Tracy Ellis Ross is in here, Jeffrey Wright, Erica Alexander, Stephen K. Brown, and Leslie Uggams. And it's so interesting. Leslie Uggams.
You mean Sterling K. Brown?
Sterling, thank you. Sterling K. Brown and Leslie Uggams. Now, Leslie Uggams plays the same character that she played in Empire as the mother with, had Alzheimer's or whatever. She was experienced it, but it was really good. So I don't want to give this up, but there's one scene. There was a tragic death between one of those characters I just mentioned. I'm not going to say which character. And they were on the beach and Jeffrey Wright was reading. So it's not Jeffrey Wright because he's reading sort of like the last will, and, of the loved one. And it was just so touching. But then the writing, Cord Johnson, just like, oh my gosh, in the middle of crying, you have the biggest laugh.
Oh.
Like in order to do that, the juxtaposition between like being sad and having a hearty laugh, that's a challenging thing to do.
Yeah, acting
At the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it's
But
like
it does happen in reality, though. People
it does.
happen.
Absolutely. But to
Especially
capture that,
yeah.
yes, it absolutely happens. But to capture that is just like, oh. So Maestro with Bradley Cooper and the wife that played Carrie, whatever. Oh my gosh, she was
Sissy Spacek.
No, not Carrie, not Sissy Spacek. Her name is Carrie something.
Oh.
No, Sissy Spacek played Carrie back.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
Oh no. No. Sissy Spacek played Carrie back in the 70s, but the wife, that played I think his name is Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Maestro? Maestro. You're talking about
right,
Leonard
Maestro.
Bernstein.
Oh, Bernstein. Yes. So Bradley Cooper, he wrote. I don't know if he directed, maybe, but it was an evolution of their relationship and him as a musician and composer, and his life being a bisexual, being married, and being open and honest, and his wife accepting that he's bisexual and having relations with men, and her struggle and going through that, and her challenge and battle with cancer. Brilliant.
Now, what about Oppenheimer? How was that?
Oh, brilliant. Another this I'm saying it was like,
I mean, that's just all political and just like, I thought it wasn't boring or nothing to you.
No. Christopher Nolan, if you're not familiar with him, Christopher Nolan, he did Dunkirk. And when you see Dunkirk, sound and film is so important. So in Oppenheimer, you have my husband loves this woman, Amanda, I forgot her name, but the caliber of actors in here, and then the sound behind these things, and then the cinematography. And it was just like, there's this one scene where they're just stomping their feet, because Christopher Nolan does this. He does like these, like in Dunkirk, he did this ticking clock. Like it got you on the edge of your seat because you didn't know what was going to happen. And like, who's going to get killed? Is the bomb going to drop? Do you remember a long time ago, Rosemary's Baby?
Yeah, of course. I like that movie. Yeah.
Right. Do you remember the commercial for it?
No.
I remember the commercial. It was a heartbeat, and it was the scariest thing. Boom, 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 and then the narration over it. Boom, 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 boom. It was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so Oppenheimer. Now, the reason why I have to say Oppenheimer was very good. This is my litmus test. It was like a 3-hour movie. And my husband and my son wanted to see it during the middle of the week after like 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall asleep. I did not fall asleep. I was like, it ended already. It was just, it moved.
Okay.
It was excellent.
Because I heard like about a Senate hearing and all of this stuff. And
yeah, the atomic bomb. This is the person that made the atomic bomb. Yeah. And all of that stuff. So, I mean, Robert Downey was in it. Matt, what is his name from Boston?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Emily Blunt was in it.
Blunt, yeah.
Yeah, she was in it. She's excellent because the wife was an alcoholic and she had to play that role. And you know what? I can tell caliber actors when the character is supposed to be inebriated.
So if it looks fake, because if it looks fake, it's like, bro, come on, that's not it.
You're like, no, that's not it. That's not it. Nope.
Like, you done seen folks drunk, and that ain't it. That's
right. Like drunk. You're being you're exaggerating, and it's like, no. But yeah, so 2023, good year for film. So yep. All right, so we've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, where did this time go?
But real quick, you just saying you had meant that you didn't really finish it up, but you had said with the crying scene and like that. In other words, Gabrielle Union couldn't do that, is what you was trying to say.
No, she couldn't bring that out of me.
Okay, never.
No, I don't know about never. Maybe she went to a good trainer or something. Maybe a
But up till
acting
now,
coach.
no.
No, there are just certain people. No, I just don't feel it. I
Okay.
just don't feel it from
I
her.
have to go back and watch something Gabby Union in it. Her best
Now I
movie.
feel it from Taraji P Henson.
Right.
And did you see Hidden Figures?
Yeah, I did.
That one scene when she was talking about going to the
The
bathroom.
bathroom, yeah.
Oh,
What's the guy's name? Big actor that she was playing against, that she was Kevin Costner, right? Yeah.
Kevin Costner. Yes.
Yeah, he
That
was
that
actually
one
explaining
scene
where
was
she
like,
at every day. You know what I'm saying?
yes. I was like, I felt it.
He's like, every day for 20 minutes, where you just gone?
Yes.
She was like, look, there is
I
no
felt it.
bathroom for black people or black women over here.
Paul Giamatti, he brings it. I feel it.
He
Jeffrey
was
Wright, I
John
feel it.
Adams, right?
Who's that?
Didn't he play John Adams like a president or something, like on HBO or something like that? Paul Giamatti.
Oh, I don't know. But I first was introduced to him in Cinderella Man with Russell Crowe. If you've never seen Cinderella Man, that movie is excellent. And it takes place in New Jersey, about this boxer in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's not. I'm trying to think of a Paul Giamatti movie.
Billions.
No,
He's in the series Billions.
Something that
Sideways or Sidewalk Sideways.
I can't think of any. I know he was in Planet of the Apes as the orangutan. That Planet of the Apes movie with
I bet he was a good orangutan.
Yeah, he was good. And with Mark Wahlberg, that Planet of the Apes. That
okay, I got to check that out.
Yeah, he played the orangutan.
But yeah, so he was in the Holdovers, and the Holdovers is about he was a professor who's an alcoholic, and a small group of students had to be held over during the Christmas break, and talking about the complex relationships and the dynamics and the things that they go through and what he went through. And Divine, she was one of the cafeteria workers, and she pretty much kind of did a lot of the things in the Holdover because a lot of the other people weren't there. So she did the cooking and she gave great advice. She was just, it was great.
Okay. Oh, those some good recommendations then. If people haven't seen them, you can go check them out.
Check them out, and good recommendations on books. Let's bring up those books.
Okay, wow. Let me go back from the beginning.
All right, Body Works. I say Body Works. Body Rights. Body Rights by Dr. Young, by Dr. Sheena Young. Excellent. It's a workbook. Body Rights, a holistic healing and embodiment workbook for Black survivors of sexual trauma. Definitely try to get it. And if you would like to receive a free copy, the first person that emails me at Urban Twos, which email is it?
No, I'm sorry, because Raquel had just said something, but it's Urban Tools for Change at Gmail.
Okay, Urban Tools for Change. Straight out of
Compton.
That's what he played in. That's what else he played in. Straight out of Compton.
Oh, really?
Did he? Paul Giamatti. I think he was like a manager or something. Was it Raquel? Was he a manager or something? Music executive?
All right, because I'm trying to think of a good Paul Giamatti movie.
Yes, Urban Tools for Change, Body Rights, a holistic healing and embodiment workbook for Black survivors of sexual trauma. Definitely highly recommend. Pick that up. All right, the next book, Sullied Bride by Jasmine Andrews. Definitely pick it up. Detailing the fall of man and how, unfortunately, as women, we have been subjected to the cruel abuse that men have projected to us since the fall of man. Sullied Bride. Jasmine Andrews will be in the Urban Suite at the end of this month. So, yes. So Raquel says, yes, he was a music executive. That's right. And then the next one, Sheila Johnson, America's first Black female billionaire, Walk Through Fire, a memoir of love, loss, and triumph. Excellent read, inspirational, I'm telling you, excellent read. I read that in a day and a half. I could not put the book down. And then the next one, Stephen King Holly. I read this book, and it's pretty thick, in like 2-3 days. Couldn't put it down. Could not put it down. And he's such an intelligent writer, even though it is, horror He really is. But
Campbell.
wasn't that excerpt interesting that I read?
Yeah. Now, do you think that's a surrogate for like his beliefs in a way too? Because he's the one writing it.
Absolutely.
So that you think that's how he kind of make believe a little bit on a certain level and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's good to read books from, other people from different ethnic backgrounds, different cultures, so you can get an idea of what they're thinking, how they're thinking, why they think a certain way. But at the end of the day, it's don't blame me, just like what Adam did with.
That sounds like something that they might make into a movie eventually, though.
Well, most of his books do turn into movies, and sometimes they're a little cheesy.
But that sounds like kind of like a movie, though.
Yeah, I could see it as a movie. All right. Any last words?
No, I think that's it.
All righty. So thank you all for coming into the Urban Suite with me, Dr. Lisa LaCon, where you laugh, learn, cry, and grow. Until next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be right back, Lord willing, in the Urban Suite. So definitely, I need you to like, thumbs up, hit that like button. I need you to share. I need you to do all those things. I thank you for my Instagram page. I'm trying to grow that. Yes and no, but for the most part, Instagram, my TikTok family. I'm on TikTok, but I really don't get on TikTok like I ought to. And it's like, it's just so much. But my Amazon, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, LinkedIn. So hopefully you all got something out of tonight, some good reads for 2024. And as the year goes through, I'm gonna pick up more books. What I'm looking for in this area of Virginia in the 757, some little quaint bookstores that I can go to and pick up books, because I like supporting, local bookstores. It's not all about the Barnes and Noble, even though I like going to Barnes and Noble, but I really like supporting the small mom and pop bookstores. But unfortunately, a lot of people these days don't read.
No. Not the paper books. They read them on their phone.
Right.
iPad or something like that.
Right. And I love paper books. I love the smell of bookstores, walking in a bookstore. So in New Jersey, if you're in the Newark area, Source of Knowledge bookstore on Broad Street is fantastic. The owners are, I'm telling you, down to earth, fantastic people. Source of Knowledge is one. That's the only bookstore, like mom and pop bookstore, that I'm familiar with, because a lot of them just shut down.
Yeah.
And they have pioneered and they're still doing their thing. So yeah. All right, my urbanites. So thank you for everything. All the best to you all. Godspeed. Lord willing, I will see you next week in the Urban Suite, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So on that note, Molly, take us away.